So next I was thinking about how I was going to place them on the wall and how I was going to arrange them. So this is one of my early layout choices that I had. I, at this point, was just focusing on the animals themselves and not having them on the figures. And I just wanted something that just to resemble animals, and for some reason the circle always came up. Circle of Life, Lion King type of feel. Yeah, and I got lots of compliments on this idea and having, the animal figures in the middle. But as I moved forward, things changed. And then as I was putting them on human bodies, I thought about lines. But for some reason, I really didn't like this. I think it was because even though the human figures standing up were all the exact same size, they looked different and looked different sizes because the heads had different weights on them, being larger and smaller. Like the lion one looked bigger than the owl one, and then the owl one for me wasn't really working, so that's when I changed it to a deer, and then I added in the seahorse later. Here I added in the seahorse, but I still have the old owl, and I ended up swapping that owl out for a deer. Because the owl just wasn't working. You couldn't even really tell it was an owl until you saw the full body, which I didn't really like. I found it very confusing. But I loved this layout. Something about this layout clicked for me. And I think it was because the fan shape, I don't know, I'm not really sure why, but I think this just... For some reason, it really resembled animals to me. I felt like this was a symbolism of, animal pride and things, and it's like it was an ongoing shape. Like you wanted to see the bottom half of the shape. You wanted to see a full circle of these animals with different animals. And I really liked that idea because the thing is that with animal totems, it's an ongoing and a very historic idea about sharing characteristics with animals and animal totems and animal meanings. And it's an idea that stems very historically. And so with giving it a layout and a shape that feels like it's an ongoing thing really helped, and it made me think of the website that I kept going to get all my information about animals, where she says animals have served as harbingers of personality traits all through history. As humans, we aspire to achieve what these animals represent. This makes animals some of the most powerful symbols in our spiritual toolbox, which really just got to me. It made me understand that they had been around a long time. And then when researching about metaphors, I really liked this quote, and I thought it really explained how metaphors about animals go on between lots and lots of different cultures. And the quote says, reality itself is defined by metaphor, and as metaphors vary from culture to culture, so do the realities they define. Anyway, back to layouts. So I really like this layout, and then this is a picture of the one I did of the wood when I was first practicing with the wolf, and I just wanted to put it in there to see what it would look like, to try to visualize all of them in wood, and I really, really liked it. And then this was an idea that I kind of abandoned quite quickly, but it was an idea of putting circles down at the bottom, and I wanted 7 to emulate the 7 animals that I'd chosen, and I wanted to write down the characteristics of those animals, each on them, and I wanted people to, kind of not make it a game, but more of a trying to guess which animal meant what, and for people trying to pair them up. And I'm just going to outline now the certain animal characteristics that I've chosen and why I chose these animals, why these characteristics mean. These characteristics I've chosen were ones that I think make up a human. Every human needs these characteristics. So all of these 7 animals I've chosen are a real meaning, have real meaning, and that I really, really, they just kind of spoke to me. So I've got the wolf, which is loyalty, intelligence, and communication. The deer, which is grace, spirituality, and creativity. The lion, which is courage, justice, and power. The elephant, which is happiness, pride, and reliability. The horse, which is freedom and strength. The seahorse, which is patience, protection, and perspective. The alligator, which is fear and instinct. The cat, which is a domestic cat, is independence. And the rabbit is luck, love, and rebirth. Now you see each of those ones at the bottom. I wanted to add something. It felt a bit empty, just having the fan shape with the animals around it, and I really wanted to put in those figures with the different figures. And so I came up with breaking them all down, and I started placing them and giving them space and kind of creating a whole section kind of thing, a full section of these. And I really liked the 3. I thought they worked really well, but I thought the 4 just really balanced it out. And I really liked that idea, and I knew that as soon as I saw that, I found my final layout of my pieces, which was super exciting. And then came to, after creating them, putting them on the wood, getting them all drawn on, finished, sealed and everything. Now I was getting them on the wall, and this proved to be very difficult, getting the spacing and the working out, and yeah, and I didn't realize how big they were. They were a lot bigger than I thought they were. But yeah, and then so Bernard had the perfect idea of sticking some tissue together and putting them on the tissue, getting them laid out, and then chucking that tissue up on the wall, doing all the nailing and stuff to get it on the wall, and then just ripping the tissue away because it's so thin, which was perfect. So it allowed me to get it the exact way I wanted it. So these are just the quick pictures of it on the tissue to begin with. And then this is how we were securing them onto the wall. So what we did is we got a drill and we got the nails, and we made, because of the wood that I was using was 12mm, we drilled to a point into the 12mm and then drilled into the wall. And we cut off the end of each of the nails, and we hammered them in and made them smaller so they weren't like the extra long, and cut them in. And so we drilled 2 points in each of the animals so we could get it slotted right in, and they just fit into the wall, which was good. So these are the nails that we used. We cut off the end. You see on the one that's right at the bottom, leading right to the bottom, it still has the end on, and the others don't. We cut them off, and then we cut them probably about in half, I would say. Yeah, they were Paslode panel pin, 40 by 1.60 millimeters. And so here in the rabbit you can see we made the hole, chuck it in, and then this is Bernard helping me out. So we just kind of pinned them. We didn't push them all the way in because then we wouldn't be able to rip the tissue paper underneath off. But we pushed them to a point, ripped the tissue paper off, and then stuck them on. And then I played around with it a bit more. I played around with the bottom line because it wasn't straight and I didn't like it. And so, yeah, we played around with it and got it exactly. That's a picture of it on the end wall in the exhibition studio space at MIT. I was really happy with the output, but I wanted more space. But being able to put it in the refinery has allowed me to have more space. So I'm going to blow it out a bit bigger. I'd always thought that I always needed more space around the top 7 animals and the animals and the figures in the middle. It needed to be blown out a bit more and more space. So I'm really excited about that.